Yo, welcome back. Welcome back. It is Friday once again, back at our regularly scheduled time. Yes, I'm back here with a full cast. We got Trey back for you Trey fans. He is back off vacation. And I'm rocking out with Amina and Matt as always. Maybe Andre will come in, maybe he won't. We'll see. But let's start. Go ahead, Matt. Introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself.
Reintroduced? Oh, really? Oh, no. But this is Matthew Mack here. Twitter handle at Small Red Horn. Uh, I just came off this. I just
Ah,
came off. I just came off the All Star break. We're talking baseball trades, but that's not gonna happen. But let's get started.
all right. Go ahead, Amina.
Sup,
Making me
y'all?
laugh.
Sup, y'all? It's Amina. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, sup, it's Amina. Just rocking out with y'all tonight.
All right, go ahead, Trey.
All right. I think I done missed 3 podcasts in a row now. I think because what I guess vacation and something else 2 Fridays ago. So it's been a while. But I guess we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, well, y'all know we always got some good stuff to talk about. We want to welcome back our brother Trey off vacation, off studying, off work, whatever he was doing. Yes, he was soaking up that Florida sun, so he's probably darker than what you're used to, guys. We don't know. We'll see him on Sunday and find out. But yeah, let's start. Let's get this thing started. We're just going to start off as we always start off with our crossover hot takes. Now, for those of you who might be your first time listening, you'll know what the crossover hot takes are. These are our topics. Yes, we are a sports focused podcast, but we do dabble in some politics, some entertainment, some music, some of everything. And this is where this usually happens at. So we're gonna start off a little bit out of order, but we're gonna start off, uh, guys, with the hottest topic that's been all week. That's been going on all week. Well, the second hottest, depending on your affiliation. But guys, Don Jr. My goodness, y'all broke over the weekend. Man had a meeting with Russia, didn't tell nobody, released the emails. I know y'all the emails, but the question is, are Don Jr.'s emails a big deal? Go ahead, Matt. I know you're ready to go. Go ahead, Matt.
Uh, it just goes to show you how crazy it's been since January 20th. This is showing. No, even before that, the Trump campaign was telling you who they were, what they were, and yet much of the country believed them or didn't believe whatever you want, depends on the situation. But this is more just it. This is so much of a conflict of interest that it's unreal. This is ridiculous. This is really ridiculous because I'm to the point of I'm if I think that they filed the papers for impeachment a couple days ago, but I'm at a loss for words now. I really am. The fact that Ivanka, that his daughter's doing things with the leadership, government, and everything else. It's like, you know what? I am at a loss for words, and I don't know. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is really, really ridiculous, and it shows how inept this administration is. This shows how much of a joke this administration really is. This really shows the immatureness of how Trump is running his campaign. Like one would hope that he will wise up within 6 months. Here it is, July 14th, I believe. Yes, it's Friday, July 14th, and you think after 6 months on the job, you would say to yourself, you may make some adjustments, you may make some, you may you might want to adjust whatever, or not even hire your family members. This is not a business. This is running the country, running the United States of America, and it's not. It's crazy. And what Trump, I can't even say that man's name. What 45 needs to do is basically remove his family out the cabinet, remove the family, and literally just wise up and say, look, get some people who know how government is. So, but until then, it'll never happen. We're stuck in this perpetual mess, and for the life of me, I'm done. I'm done.
Go ahead, Trey.
I don't know, man. It's like it's kind of funny because I mean, like everybody kept denying it, or Republicans, for that matter, were denying it, right? Denying that there was any collusion with Russia, or denying that there was any there was any ship, for that matter, with Russia, and it's clear. And Donald Trump Jr. was involved. You read the email, and it's very specific. It basically says in the email that Russia had they had some type of incriminating information about Hillary Clinton, and that this was part of Russia's efforts to support Donald Trump in the 2016 United States election. So, I mean, I'm not very surprised. We all knew that there was it was clear they fired Comey if there wasn't anything going on. It's just so ironic and stupid that Republicans and other people who supported Trump just were so either blind to physically, or not physically, but they were literally blind to it, or just were so in staunch support of Donald Trump that they just kind of were like okay with it. And it's like, I don't know. People talk about Trump and his presidency and impeachment and all this stuff, and it's just like, I mean, it's right there. And I think we talked about this. I mean, it's been a while since about the whole impeachment thing. I can see him getting impeached, right? The question is, because you can, I mean, clearly you can get impeached and not be indicted, right? So I think with the Russia thing, what they have to find is that it's because it's been clear that there was collusion, right? What they have to find is whether or not Russia actually influenced the election, right? Or changed votes, or or somewhat in some way, shape, or form allowed people who weren't supposed to vote, or something like that. Now that would be worth not only impeachment but indictment. If there was just talk of because if you look at if you look deeper into the story of the collusion and the guy who supposedly had this, I think his name is Rob Goldstone, had this information about Hillary Clinton, he actually didn't deliver. He just got, so Donald Trump just kind of got both his son and senior just kind of like, it was like the guy didn't deliver, basically. So he said he had this incriminating information and he didn't have it. So if it comes out that there was actually not that there was conversation about things maybe to incriminate Hillary Clinton, or talk about potential things that would influence you. If those things actually happen, then I can really see indictment. Impeachment is on the table now, and it should have been on the table a long time ago. But I just like people were like, I mean, I remember I literally set up and watched the whole election night, and I'm just like, how is this happening? Like, why? Like, why do people think that? I mean, I know why, but at the same time, I don't know why people thought that it was a good idea to elect Donald Trump as president. Like, and it's not even about experience. It's just he clearly is not fit to be in office. People made this whole thing about Hillary, and it's like, okay, at least Hillary had, as much as of a liar, and as much as I don't truly even really support a lot of the things that she wants to do, or even just sometimes her demeanor and how she presents herself sometimes, I'm telling you, it would have been 10 times better than what we have right now. I mean, she's already been through trial and all that stuff, and they said whatever. The emails are in the past. Trump is in the middle of an investigation and fired the head of the FBI. What? Hillary just lied about some personal emails, right? So I mean, it's a whole mess. And like I said, I think he should be impeached and indicted, regardless of whether or not there's actual proof of like that he did influence the election. But I feel like unless there is proof that Russia actually did influence the election, I feel like he won't be indicted, even though law says that whether even if you didn't receive information, you still broken the law. See, time will tell what will happen, and I mean, I guess we'll see with whether or not he's impeached. I think he will be. If you have any common sense, he should be impeached. So that's that.
Amina, go ahead.
Yeah, the whole thing with his children, his three older children, especially Ivanka and Don Jr. It's nepotism at its finest. Like the only child of a former couple that was involved heavily with their parents' political life was Chelsea Clinton that I can think of, but even her, she wasn't as involved as Donald Trump's children. I find it to be inappropriate. Like, Ivanka be sitting in on classified private meetings that she shouldn't be at. Don Jr. having meetings with people that it's really making his father's case look even more bad. It's really sad. Like, he's only been in office for 6 months this coming Thursday. And it's already feeling like 8 years. Like, we have a long road to go with this. And it's like a comedy show at this point. Like, he's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to say next. You don't know what he's going to do next. And it's not a professional administration we have. It's a whole joke. So, with Don Jr., I expect it. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. That's his namesake, named after his father. Like father, like son. But I don't expect anything great to come from out of this administration. He's been in office for 6 months, just coming week. He signed not one law. There's no bills. He doesn't even have a budget. So it's like, what's going on? The next fiscal year for the federal government starts in October. and he has no clue or idea as to what he's going to do. So, hey, I already knew Russia was involved with the election because him and Putin been friends for years. So, it's to be expected. It's all falling in line. And that's what I have to say about that.
Amina, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Man, this broke on what day was that? Sunday night? Sometime Sunday, right? And it's been slowly on the downturn ever since. Like it's amazing, as Amina and Trey and Matt even said, it's amazing just how, quick this has happened. Like, we all had our suspicions, but really didn't have no proof besides him firing Comey and Director Comey and everything else that, he did up to this point. But this is really the smoking gun. And, it's ironic, and I think Trevor Noah pointed this out on The Daily Show. It's ironic that, he joked that the emails giveth and the emails taketh away. that was his joke. But it's the truth, honestly. Like, Donald Trump ran a whole campaign saying, you don't want to put somebody in the White House that's going to spend 4 years under investigation, right? You don't want to put a criminal in the White House. He was talking about Hillary Clinton. But it turns out all the people who supported him put a criminal in the White House. And it may be allegedly, and it may be his whole family, the whole crew, Bannon and all them other people. Stuff about Bannon hasn't come out. Right now it's just family. It's like the show Family Matters. Right now it's just a lot of a lot of family right now. And it's Kushner right now. It's because of Kushner and Don Jr. that, it's back in the news again. And, to his credit, to be fair to the president, he had a relatively okay trip last week, and then he had a French trip. They got an Al-Qaeda leader that just broke a couple hours ago. We could be talking about something else, but yet we're talking about Russia. And that's just because of how, for lack of a better term, how mismanaged this White House is. It's even broke that he doesn't take legal advice. He actually thinks he's his own best spokesperson. And right now, it's not we're making this all up problem. It's a legal problem now because the special counsel and all them people are about to investigate him, about to investigate the White House aides that crafted the statement and had to keep changing the statement as more stuff broke. The only reason Don Jr. actually came out on Sunday and said these meetings happened was because the New York Times reached out to him and said, yo, we got these emails with your name on it. So you either come clean or we'll just break the story and come down on you even harder. And so he had to come out. And, it's just amazing that so many people are blinded to what's going on. And, as we said, it's and there's more coming. It's going to keep coming because, this White House is not, some people are blind. This White House is not transparent. So it's going to keep happening. I'm sick of being lied to every day. Every time they get on that podium or do something in the public, they tell us this is fake news. This never happened. Well, you can't say that anymore. We got the emails now. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, I know the articles of impeachment, as Trey pointed out, have been filed. They're working on getting Kushner's security clearance revoked. Will any of that happen? Probably not, because that's all up to Donald Trump, and it's not likely that he'll take his son-in-law's security clearance away. But, we shall see. If nothing else, maybe he'll be a one-term president. Who knows? But I'm gonna let the panel get back in. Go ahead, Matt. If you got anything else to add. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Come again?
I'm saying, do you have anything else to add?
The hell yeah, I do. Look, the fact of the matter is, look, you know what? I've said it in this podcast again, once before, I'll say it again. It's the fact that America has been looked at as a bona fide joke. It's the fact that more and more we are seeing there's a boatload of collusion. It's the fact of proving it. I mean, honestly, this is my view, and I could be wrong, and I hope I'm dead wrong. I mean, the thing is, the we don't want, like I agree, we don't want 4 years of literally of investigation. We don't have time for that. We ain't got no money for that. We want number 45 to do the job that he was elected to do. It is clear that he cannot do the job that he was elected to do. If you know you can't do the job the way the Constitution is written, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to quit. It's time for you to be the second president in American history to resign, because it's going to catch up to you. It's going to literally, I mean literally, be embarrassing. So save yourself and America the torture and the embarrassment to just resign. I'm saying here, just the hell and resign. We know Mike Pence is the devil, even though he's a Christian, but still, politically, he is the devil. But you know what? At the end of the day, we know what we're dealing with when it comes to Mike Pence. We know what we're dealing with. But 45, we do not. So if I'm asking, I'm begging you, don't save yourself and save this country to just resign, please.
Matt, you know he's too proud to resign. They're gonna have to force him to resign. But there's no
What pride? He had no pride. Look at that man. He look like a damn pumpkin. So if he wants to stay in there and defend himself, let the government smash that pumpkin.
All right. Well, I take it that Matt, Mina, and Trey don't have anything else to add, so we'll move on to our second question. So, guys, will Jay Z's? I know all of us don't have Tidal or Sprint to be able to listen to the album yet, but will Jay Z's 4 minutes and 44 seconds album change the rap game? Go ahead, Amina, because I know you got strong feelings on this one. We'll start with you. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just the album that just came out, so like I told you when we had the private convo we had some days ago, we can't really tell the impact of an album until quite a few years later. But I think it's a start of something different. The album has a little bit something for everyone that's involved in hip hop or loves rap music. He touched on a lot of subjects that were known already to his fans or whatever, and some things are new. And I think it's gonna inspire other artists to come clean about their skeletons in their closet. Um, he's changing. I mean, he's gonna be 48 this year in December, so he's in a different mindset now. I can tell from over the years when he was younger in his career, even how he goes about business has changed. So I think this was an album that he had, planned for a while, and it's great put together. I didn't hear the entire album. I heard bits and pieces of it so far, but I think it's good. I think it'll help change how people that don't listen to rap artists, how they feel about them. I think it'll get them to see that they're actually human and not rapping about cars, clothes, and money and all that. I think it'll change the direction of hip hop for right now. Change it up. Get some new topics to talk about.
Here you go. 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 All right. I have not heard the album yet. I have not heard it yet. But however, I've heard some good reviews on it so far. Let me school you on this one. My favorite album of all time, believe it or not, it's not a funk album. It's not a gospel album. It's an R&B album. Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" album. That album has just transcended time. It is a timeless album. If you take a look at music of the '60s, of that era, they were talking about a whole lot of social issues at the time. In fact, women's liberation music did start in the '50s. For example, y'all might have heard the song "You Don't Know Me," which is actually, well, I forgot who did the original, but that music was as far as using it as a social platform is not new. We've gone away from it, and I'm glad that we're getting back into that. Usually, when you do, hip hop has not been. Hip hop, this is nothing new to this. It's not new because they've used this platform to tell America what's been going on, albeit been glorified. But it's to tell this is what's going on in the hood right now. And now, like, listen to hip hop today. Honestly, has been a bona fide joke. I mean, there was a message. There was always a message in the music. Sometimes some of the stories, sometimes stories in there as well. You know, oh baby, you. Well, we're not going that far. But other than that, the fact of the matter is this. Even though I haven't heard it, I'm going to hear it. But when you use that platform to elevate the social injustices that's been going on, particularly in the last 5 years, we Americans can't run away from it anymore. And art is one of the best platforms to do it because we see. I mean, I'm gonna be in my soapbox a little bit too. Me being a musician, I'm sick and tired of music being looked at as, oh, this sounds nice, oh, this sounds cute, or this sounds this, that, and the third. Art itself, no matter if it's literary, musical, or otherwise, is there to provoke something. It's there to do something. It's even though it has melodic things, it has a lot of stuff that makes it sound good. It's built to provoke some type of response, some type of emotion, to do something, to call to action. And if we don't do that, then we have another job as musicians. I mean, yes, the music out here today, yes, makes you dance and everything else, but still, the bottom line is simply that it's supposed to make people conscious and aware of what's going on. Pete Seeger, believe it or not, one of the greatest folk musicians of all time. I mean, simple as his music, but it has a lot. There's a lot of messages in his music. Some of it is with old Negro spirituals. in his rendition. But still, but still, it's supposed to provoke something. And what Jay-Z is doing, if you don't do provoke that emotion, you haven't done your job as a musician. So I'm glad Jay-Z is doing something like this. I'm glad that he's putting music back to where it's supposed to be, or in this case where it needs to be, and that's important. Unfortunately, we've got away from it.
Trey, go ahead.
I have not really listened to the album at all. I have listened to, however, the story of OJ. And if you guys have the chance, it's on YouTube actually, and the music video is on YouTube. It's kind of like a cartoon, black and white cartoon, and you guys have probably seen the picture. There's a picture of the bear from Kanye West's graduation, and then it's a picture of this like who's supposed to be Jay-Z. But the story of OJ is actually a really good song. He talks about a lot of stuff in it. He talks about how OJ could never really consider himself black. He said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ," that type of thing. He talks about a lot. It's a very deep song, but it's good music, right? And like Amina was saying, I don't think like this is not. I don't think it's going to be an immediate thing where like this just album is just going to change music. Because Jay-Z is not the only one talking about real stuff. Chance talking about real stuff. J. Cole talking about real stuff. Kendrick talks about real stuff, right? But I think coming from Jay-Z, someone who, he went from nothing to something, and he's kind of looked at an example of black excellence. And so I mean, he talks about a lot. I mean, I haven't really listened to the whole album, but I've looked at a lot of videos of people who reviewed the album and kind of found some of the lyrics on social media and stuff like that. And I think that the album will, as time progresses, it will change the game per se. And what I mean by that is, I think we'll start to distinguish more between rap and people like Lil Yachty and not even Migos, but like Lil Yachty and all those other guys like who can't really rap, and they're just kind of kids who want to make money, right? But we still call it rap, and it's
mumble
not really rap. Right, but we call it mumble rap, but it's not even really rap. It's just a song with a good beat, and they're just mumbling. That's what it's called. It's mumble. It's mumble music.
I call it musical bullshit. That's what it is. I'm sorry, it's musical bullshit. That's what it is.
It's mumble music, right? The beat might be nice, but the content of the song is just crap, right? So I think with Jay-Z, people like Kendrick, J. Cole, Chance the Rapper, and other guys who I probably don't even know about, with music like theirs, I think there's going to be, for them, you'll start hearing more stuff like that from them. And then the distinction between the line between rap like Jay-Z and all, the more famous black rappers, and people like Lil Yachty and I can't even think of these people's names. We'll just call it mumblers. The mumblers. The line between those music without content or without a meaning, the line is going to be a lot more clear. So in that sense, it will change the rap game. I think also, he's always had a way of talking about something, and he's one of the best rappers of all time. And I think as time goes on, people will begin to appreciate in particular this album more and more, just his transparency, his willingness to talk about when it comes to his relationship with Beyonce, when it comes to just a lot of things. And to me, that's what makes a good rap song, the purpose of the song. But in a song or an album where your purpose is to just be transparent and real, is from what I've heard and what I've read and seen reviews of for the album, it was just straight up real and transparent. And I mean, to me, that's what rap really is the ability to portray a message with a nice beat, maybe a little bit of melody in there, and like just really good rhymes, or even just the ability to tell a story within a song. And Jay-Z apparently has done that very well. I know he did it well in just the particular song the story of OJ. And so I hope that we kind of get back to that type of rap where somebody just tells a story, where somebody's just really open and transparent about their life, or just in general what it's like to be a rapper, someone who started from, the so-called bottom and kind of basically made it to the top, right? And they're, for the most part, viewed as an example. Him and his wife and his family are viewed as an example of Black excellence, right? And just kind of talking about what that means, the implications of that, and his ups and downs and his faults and his mistakes within that. I love that, and I want to listen to the rest of the album, and I will when I get a chance. I probably won't buy Tidal, but when it comes out somewhere else, on Apple. Well, I don't even have Apple, so wherever it comes out next, I'll buy it and I'll probably listen to it, or whenever it comes out on YouTube or something. But in that sense, it will change the rap game, but it's going to be a progress. This is not something that's just going to happen overnight. Where his album is just, it's selling like crazy. And it's only on a few outlets, the same way that Kanye's album, originally it didn't sell well, but he put it on Tidal, it got leaked, blah blah. He changed up some of the songs, but as far as we know, the album ended up selling really well. So, and if you think about it, this is how Chance the Rapper feels on a regular basis, because he has no record label, right? So his music is leaked as soon as the album comes out. The music is leaked. At least Jay-Z don't have to worry about the music being leaked. So I want to listen to it, and I'm sure that it's a straight up just real bare to the bones good rap album. So that's what it is.
Listen, y'all, as my friends pointed out, man, this album was real. It was everything. Trey, for you, because I know I know you and I have Sprint, and you might have missed this because you were on vacation, but because you have Sprint and the exclusive deal, there is a code you can use to get the album. So just Google Complex. It was in Complex. Just Google the Complex. Complex had an article up with a Sprint code for the thing, so you can download it directly to your computer, tablet, whatever. So look that up. I know you're probably doing that right now as we speak or whatever. But for me, right, this album, I didn't really get a chance to listen to it until a couple of days later once he released the code for Sprint users. The album is real, man. As Amina alluded to, I wrote an article about this, and that's what actually the title of the article is the question: will Jay-Z's 4 minutes and 44-second album change the rap game? And to me, as all of them said, I think it takes time. But with an album like this, and it happened with Kendrick Lamar's most recent album, y'all know the album I'm talking about. When that album came out, it was amazing, and that had an immediate impact because it held the rap game accountable. Kendrick Lamar's Damn title was just amazing, and you know it was that, and so. And I'm not saying that those albums compare because Jay-Z's album is, as Trey pointed out, as Amina and Matt pointed out, it's his most transparent and most mature album. And if you look at all of Jay-Z's albums, they've all had a hint of realism, but this might be the most real album that he touches on, and that may be because of Lemonade, but I think it's also because a secondary thing is, you know, he's in his mid-40s now, and, you know, that's about when, scientifically, most men don't hit maturity until about the age of 30. And, this might be his most mature album because, he's 5 years in of being a father. And so he sees that what his actions have done, cheating on Beyonce or being unfaithful to Beyonce, has done to his relationship. And he alluded to, not wanting another man to raise his father. So obviously, he had to have an ultimatum before, somewhere between Lemonade and this album, Beyonce probably gave him an ultimatum. And so he's changed his ways somewhat. I mean, I'm not in his life as a private couple, but, all we can really do is react to the album. And the way he seems in the album, it seems he's become more mature and he recognizes his mistake. He also talked about him shooting his own brother. He addressed as Trey talked about the Kanye thing, and hopefully they'll get on better terms. But, as I pointed out in the article, this is his most real. This is him talking about black excellence. This is him, even in the story of OJ, he talked about how he and other rappers play into the minstrel show of rap. How, they talk about more about spending money instead of saving money and doing stuff in the community. Now, Jay-Z actually does stuff in the community. He's one of the few rappers that does. But even in the album, he talks about how he had a chance to buy a building for $2 million that's now worth $8 million. And, this is just real. As I pointed out in the article, this, if it does nothing else, it tells people that most consumers of rap, we want real hip-hop. We don't want the mumble rapper stuff, the future stuff where you can't understand nothing anybody's saying until the chorus. Or the stuff where the stuff don't make sense until you got to listen to it about 8 times before you get the meaning. It's like a bad movie, a movie you got to keep watching in order to get it, right? And, it's horrible to state of rap. But, as Trey pointed out, we got a few rappers, Chance, J. Cole, Kendrick, Kanye, Jay-Z, rappers that actually say stuff in their rhymes. I mean, it could be the smallest thing, but at least they're saying something. And rap is, and this is something that I don't think anybody pointed out yet, but hip hop rap is at a point now with everything that's going on. The African American community probably is under attack now. Even more, we've always been under attack, but we're even more under attack than we were. And so now it's time for hip hop people to rise up, right? And I'm not saying we need another NWA or any of that. But now rap needs to have a message now because we got different things going on. We have people trying to turn back rights that we've enjoyed and everything. And rap needs to go back to what it was. It was our outlet. It was that thing of us expressing ourselves realistically, telling people what was going on in our different communities and our different. And I mean, we're all in our 20s here, so it's not like we're old hip hop. All right. And one person in their 30s. Okay, Matt. I didn't forget about you. We're all in our 20s to 30s, so we're not old. We all grew up in the 90s, the golden age of hip hop and rap. And even before that, our parents had the 80s and 70s. I'm not saying they got to go back to NWA, but I'm saying I want stuff like the Jay-Z, the Kendrick Lamars, the Chance the Rappers, and the J. Cole's that say something. The vanguards, right? Even Kanye West when he feels like putting out a good album, right? We need the vanguards back, the people to train up. It needs to go back to what it was, where every rapper had a protege, and their proteges were saying something. This mumble rap got to stop. And I can't blame Jay-Z and them because it's us. It's not the four of us consuming that type of rap, but it's our kid brothers and sisters, our friends, our best friends consuming that downgraded, for lack of a better term, to put it nicely, downgraded rap, right? What people
No. That's not nice enough. It's BS rap. That's what it really boils down to. It's nonsensical BS rap.
I call it
Okay,
cultural
man.
assassination.
Not worse enough.
Yeah. Cultural assassination.
We'll call it, what we'll call it is even an even better term, cultural assassination, BS rap. We'll just call it record label rap. It's what the record labels think we want, right? The dumbing down of rap. They want us talking about the stereotypical stuff that most of these rappers go through. And when you honestly boil it down, most of the rappers, like I'm talking about the worst offenders, the Lil Waynes, the 2 Chainz, those two, they got degrees. Now people wouldn't know that because of their rap personas and what they say in their rap music, but both of them got degrees. But in most of their music, they're talking about the life and sex. That's what I mean, right? Like it's time for real hip hop. Because we don't have the TV shows anymore, the Family Matters and all that stuff, the Fresh Princes of Bel-Air, that doesn't exist anymore. They don't want to put that on TV anymore. You got to get that from Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Instant Video, right? So that's not on TV. So the only outlet we got is realistic rap, and that's what we need. We need more 4 minutes and 44 seconds. We need more dance. We need more Forest Hills. We need more albums like that. We need more coloring books. We need more stuff like that. We need more realistic rap. Realistic rap. I see Matt and Amina are wearing to go. I'm not with them, but I hear it. I feel it in my spirit. So go ahead, Amina. I know you.
You felt it, all right. You felt that sucker right up in your bones and right up in your alley.
Yes. But you see, what happened was, hip hop started in New York in the early 70s. What you had in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s was the golden era of the hip hop community, which we can admit that time will never come back. But the feds, the big people realized that the music was changing black youth's lives for the better, and they couldn't have that. How did black women go from being referred to as queens and empresses in the music industry to being called bitches and hoes? The music that we grew up on, as far as hip hop, and was too positive, so they had to destroy record labels. They had to destroy artists. They had to sell them, buy them out, and the artists sold themselves out. The music was too positive. You had black men openly admitting that they're kings and rulers and stuff. So now wearing tights and spandex. That's the culture of the hip hop community today. We don't have NWA anymore. We don't have Public Enemy.
You don't have a Tribe Called Quest.
We don't have Outkast. We don't have
which actually started the trap music. They started trap music with the 808s.
We have the era of auto tunes and mumble. That's what it is.
Oh, let me tell you something.
It's not genuine anymore. The music is not. It doesn't have a purpose anymore. It doesn't have a meaning. The lyrics, even on the BET Awards, it was a performance. I think either during the early part of the show or the pre-show, the song was called Peekaboo. Like, what's up with that? Peekaboo what? So I hardly recognize music today. I mean, I grew up in the 90s, so I know real music when I hear it. I grew up listening to NWA, Biggie, and Tupac and all that. But these children today, they don't know nothing about Biggie, Tupac, NWA, Outkast, all these. So at the end of the day, all they're exposed to is this watered down, diluted, whatnot. And I can't. and I can't even call it hip hop because that would be disrespectful to the pioneers of the hip hop community. I can't even call it hip hop, so I don't even know what genre it is.
BS. That's what it is. BS. But look, let me tell you something. If you go back, it's the worst thing you can do. You can go forward. However, you can to what young kids don't understand about the history, and there is a history of hip
Yes,
hop
it
now.
is.
You like believe it or not, you can look at if you listen to Tupac, his entire discography,
Mhm.
it was telling you something. Believe a lot of cats don't understand that his mom was part of the Black Panthers.
Mhm.
You know, a lot of cats don't understand that, like, even though ugly as he is, Flavor Flav is a classically trained trombonist. A lot of guys don't understand that. Like, even Outkast has a jazz element to their music. People like knock their stuff all the time, but like, it's
I
jazz
love
element.
Outkast. Love
You're,
them.
you be amazed, dear. But it's,
Yes, I love them.
but if you listen, there's a lot of jazz element in their music. But which goes back to one thing. If we, I'm gonna take it a step further. This is what happens when you don't have music in the schools anymore. You get regurgitated garbage of BS. But that's another story. When you have um when you understand the
And
history. Look. When you go history and everything else, okay, that's where you get to understand where we come from. I'd rather listen to gangster rap than this nonsense. But no. Let me get off my soapbox.
nah, let me put you right back on that. Let me, because you being
You
nah, nah,
could go on
nah,
your
nah.
soapbox.
See, this is what happens when people, because you right, but you being too nice. You talking about as the schools now. Put that back where it belongs. This is because of lack of culture in the homes. That's what that is. There used to
I
be a time where people will remember going to plays, going to stuff where they recognize slave days. Young African Americans, they old school and cultured in one form of music, and that's rap. Like you said, people, these different artists got jazz, got different things in their stuff that goes back to the history of rap. It's because there's lack of culture in the homes. Nobody's showing these kids culture. You can go, man.
Look, I agree with you. There's so many different elements to this. So many different elements because of the de-evolution of hip hop. So so that's another thing. There's so much going on economically, social economically, you name it, that makes hip hop diluted the way it is right now. I'm sorry. Early Kanye, yes. Later Kanye, no. But you get J. Cole, you can add even Childish Gambino's stuff is pretty much got me going. So it's if you don't understand and learn the musical side of hip hop, it's going to continue to go down to a. I'm trying not to use language here, do the best I can, but if I slip, I slip down this crappy slope. And that's where we're at right now. Not just in the hip hop industry, not just in the rap industry, but R&B is just not the same anymore. I mean, it's. But if it's going to evolve, it has to evolve for the better and for the betterment of the ear versus just make money because everybody's going to eat and regurgitate this stuff easy. It's like eating processed cheese. You know you eat too much of it, you're gonna stopped up, and next thing you know you have to go to the bathroom and be taking the longest dump of your life. So we have to have the good stuff. I'm gonna admit, gangster rap, honestly, I'd rather listen to that than what I'm listening to right now. At least musically was fine. The lyrically speaking, you understood, particularly West Coast. You West Coast is more freer, East Coast is more grittier, but still, you understood it. There was a story behind it. There is no stories behind this. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Bottom line. It's bottom line. We have to go back and learn music. If we don't understand where we come from or where we've gone from, We will never know where we're going to, and we are going to repeat itself all over again. It's going to repeat itself. Let's get the
I
sports, gosh darn it.
I have to blame the parents as well. I mean, when I was coming up, I grew up listening to in my house. My parents had Luther Vandross going, Phyllis Hyman, all the greats that are no longer here. But today you have parents that are blasting Little Uzi and Yachi and whoever these people are, and the children have no exposure to real classic music and the hip hop, R&B, nothing. So they are coming out with music that's a reflection of what they grew up on.
All right, y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I feel as though it's the parents' fault. I mean, I would have never grew up on the things that children and teenagers listen to today. Never. Like, I don't, the stuff that the younger youth listen to, it's like, how do you listen today? It's like, I can't even bear it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I hear young girls talk about some song, big girls, like about something about calories, and it's like, what? This doesn't make any sense to me, but I have to blame their parents and their upbringing for it all.
True. All right, y'all. We got one more. We got one more. Then we can get into our main topic. And I will ask you all to keep your topic because I know this next person we're about to talk about is real controversial. So I'm gonna ask y'all to keep it within 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So should we really take Umar Johnson seriously? I'll start. Right. Umar Johnson, the man, the Hotep from Philly, as I like to call him, Dr. Johnson, as he would like to be called, right? I have to say, sometimes I find myself agreeing with him, but I saw his recent exchange with Roland Martin and the panel. I call it the Maryland panel because they're all from Maryland and D.C., and that's the people who he'd be arguing with. So I'll call it the Maryland panel, right? So, Dr. Umar is I find myself agreeing with him sometimes, but not all the time. But Umar he is a troll. He is the living embodiment of a black Hotep troll. That's what he is. He does stuff to get a reaction, right? And so I'm gonna particularly take something. I know one person agrees with his stance on this, but I'm gonna flip this, right? He was talking about interracial marriage, and I don't come from an interracial home. I'm a product of black marriage and everything. But for me, I find interracial marriage a particularly hot subject, especially amongst the 18 to 35 age group. I'm really trying to understand why, because here's my thing, right? Y'all have to remember that it wasn't too long ago, and there's an HBO movie specifically about this, that we couldn't marry. The only thing we could marry was ourselves, black women, black men. And so I find it very reprehensible for somebody, and I'm really about to start asking for receipts, because to me, I feel like if you not pure black, because none of us in this country are, we all got some percentage of white in us. So, some people, they nice it up and say that, slave masters had mistresses, but we know what time it was. But the people who are products of that have part white in them cannot then say, oh, you can't marry, you can't talk black and marry white. We have some of our greatest champions were biracial. Dr. E.B. Du Bois was biracial. Not Martin Luther King, but there was a bunch of people who were biracial. A lot of historians that were biracial. A lot of our champs that were biracial. Our most recent president was a product of a biracial marriage. Sure, he married black, but it's the same thing. I feel, and he is notorious for this. Sometimes I agree with these hoteps, but most of the time I can't agree with their stances, because a lot of times they don't gel with history. It's like they don't know their history. It's like their history stops after the slavery period and doesn't begin before that. They like to claim that everybody's Egyptian not true at all. Like most of us that are here in this country, we come from West Africa. We're nowhere near Egypt, right? So I just have a problem with anybody claiming anything, and the person that says stuff, especially when it comes to interracial marriage, when they look at their ancestry, they can go back to having white in them and saying you can't marry interracially. What kind of stuff is that? You people that say that to me, and this is my opinion, at Kyler W. Watson, if you hotels want some. Listen, you can't say that, and you aren't pure black yourself. Go ahead, Matt.
Look, you know what? Dr. Umar Johnson, first time I heard of him, you have to go all the way back to about 5 years ago. It was my then girlfriend at the time told me about it. Now, I mean, I looked at, I heard him talk, speaking everything else, and I thought, well, good brother, has his head on the shoulder, you know. But the more I go into him, read deep into him, the more things I start to question. And you have to remember, I have to tell people this, like, remember this. I understand you want people to you know, particularly people of color, to give us our identity. This is nothing, the identity crisis thing is not new. This is nothing new. It's never been new. It's been an ongoing issue for a long time, okay? And it's still an issue. I mean, remember James Brown sung it best. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is simply with him is questionable. I mean, I could go into interracial marriage situation. You know, you're in America. Separatism or Garveyism is not economically feasible, particularly in America. It's not. I mean, it's not unless you're in Africa. That's a whole different story. But this is a globalized. The world's more global than ever before. So, I've heard a lot of stuff. Some of it I do agree with, as far as the economic side of things. Not all of it, some of it. I mean, much I disagree with the kings and queens bit, because historically it doesn't make any sense. Historically, it does not make sense. I mean, if you look at Egypt, they're more fair-skinned than we are. So it really doesn't make any sense. Now, I was watching a documentary, PBS. Henry Louis Gates did I think a 5 or 6 piece series on pretty much the history of Africa and how it changed and everything else. And it answered a lot of my questions as far as who we were, what we were, and what happened before the slave trade, during the slave trade, and afterwards. So, but much of it, I do question a lot of it. Much of it I disagree with. And, I mean, he does pose very good points, but at the same time, there's a thing called being too much African in my book, because, look, we cannot go back into the Malaysias of Africa. It'll never happen again. Africa is too messed up at this point to go back to that. But we're in a globalized unit. In fact, a lot of African cities are now progressing at a much faster rate than most of the other counterparts. So I think for him, you can either take him or leave him at this point. I mean, as far as the interracial thing, it's BS. Trey, you take it.
I don't know. There are some things that I've heard him talk about that make sense. There are also some things that he talks about that I completely disagree with. Like for example, a while back he talked about church money and the idea behind religion and why black people this idea of like that Christianity in particular is a white man's religion. Now he's come out and talked about the idea of interracial relationships, right? And I can understand. See, there's this. You can have a how I want to say this. For I'll use myself as example, right? So I can have a preference, right? I could prefer a white girl, or I could prefer a black girl, or I could prefer someone who's Hispanic, right? But wouldn't I'm not gonna separate myself from them or exclude them from options that I have, right? Um, and that's okay, right? That it's okay to say, I mean, I prefer, or I prefer this type for girls. I prefer this type, right? That's just in not even on a romantic level, just friends, right? You might not have any problem with white people. You might not have any problem with Mexican or Colombian or whatever the case may be. But maybe you tend to hang out with more black people than white people, or maybe you tend to hang out with more Hispanic people than black people, or whatever the case may be, right? That's one thing, and that's okay, right? It's another thing to say, no, I just don't date white girls, or I just don't date, right? That's a totally different situation, and I think that's nonsense. And so that's what I mean when I say there's some stuff that he says that has he may be making a good point, and then he kind of goes off somewhere. Like and when I was mentioning the whole thing about with churches, he made some good points about some big mega churches that aren't really doing what they should be doing with their money, and you got pastors running around with jets and all these fancy clothes, right? And somewhere with it, and then he kind of went off track. And it's the same thing with a lot of his stuff. Um, economic. I think some of his views about economics and all that type of stuff are somewhat valid, but and I think you should listen to him because, so, like I said, some of the stuff he says is real, right? But you have to be able to look at and listen to what he's saying and pick out. And I'm not saying pick and choose, but you have to pick out and understand what he's trying to say, right? And he's trying to start this school now and stuff, and so I don't want people to think in the same way or to take his whole thought process and have it as their own, right? Because for one, it's not necessarily biblical, and I mean just alone on the whole idea of this whole mindset of interracial romantic relationships. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And then I think Colin, you pointed it out. Maybe you have people who will point out stuff like that. They'll have an issue with it, and it turns out that they're married to a white person, or they have white ancestors, or vice versa. They're white, and they say something about interracial relationships, and turns out they have black ancestors or something. And so it's like, it's just, see, now I don't know if he's married, whether he's married to a white woman, black woman, whatever the case may be, whatever. But I mean, that doesn't make sense to say. Like I said, you can say, I I tend to hang out with white people, or I tend to date, for whatever reason, I tend to date white girls, or whatever reason I tend to date, not because I don't find them attractive, just because that's my, my biologically, I find them more attractive, blah, blah, whatever that, right? But, where he's going is beyond that. That's where you think in terms of personality, attractiveness, blah, 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 all that, stay away from him, right? Um, and I just don't think that that's right. I mean, he would be of the mindset that all white people, no matter what you say, are racist, right? He's that type of person. That's not always true. Are is there a good portion of white people who are racist, even if it's unknowingly or have done something? Yeah, true, yeah. But to be of the mindset that all white people are, this every single white person in the whole world is racist, and we should not, in terms of romantic relationships or whatever the case be, marrying or dating. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, I mean, we all were created in God's image. At the end of the day, right? And I don't know, like, he says a lot, and you gotta listen to what he says, and you gotta what he's saying, and you have to, for yourself, look at it and do some good hearted thinking about the truth of what he's saying and whether or not it really makes sense. Because something could sound good and even sound truthful, but in reality, it just doesn't make sense. And to say something like interracial relationships, I really don't think they're a good idea. I mean, that's just as racist as somebody who's white saying that they don't want to date a black person, right? So you kind of stooped to their level, and it's deeper than what we can really go into now, but it's just because that's who if you listen to and watch his videos, Dr. Umar Johnson is a very deep, thoughtful, convoluted, complicated person. So you got to really listen to what he's saying, like I said. But listen to him. But you don't take everything he says as truth.
Amita?
Yeah, I'm I have similar background as Kylan. I come from two parent married black household, black mother, black father married. So I have a different perspective than your average black person out here whose situation wasn't the same. So I have respect, honor, and love for black relationships. Now, when it comes to what Dr. Umar feels about interracial relationships, I kind of agree with him because at the end of the day, people that are progressive in the world, as far as different cultures around the world, they don't seek out outside of their community. Indians in India, they marry each other. Asian people, depending on what type of Asian they are, whether Japanese, Chinese, etc., they marry each other and they build their communities up. Chinatown, Japanese town, etc. You go to African countries, people from Nigeria, they marry each other. People from Ghana, they marry each other. People from the Caribbean, the Jamaicans, they marry each other. The Haitians, they marry each other. But only in America do you have a situation where the once so-called property of another people are marrying the descendants of the people that raped and lynched their ancestors for 400 years. You don't find this anywhere else on the globe. You won't even find Jews, Hasidic Orthodox Jews, marrying Germans. You will never see it. You will never hear it. It doesn't go on. It doesn't happen because the Jew knows what the German did to their people. So at the end of the day, black people that get involved with those types of relationships outside of their community, to me, they're not aware of what's been going on. You can have your preference for who you choose to hang out with, have a relationship with, but at the end of the day, the only way to keep your community intact as far as the legacy, as far as economics, is to marry within your race. It keeps the black power structure intact, the black family. The federal government doesn't want to see black couples together. They don't want to see black marriages together. And it's kind of true because if you go back to the even recent times, as far as the 50s and the 60s, nearly every black person was married to a black person. But today, the demographics is changing. And marriage rates in the black community are down. We have the lowest marriage rates in the black community, but the highest divorce rates. Today, 80% of black homes are headed by black women. The black fathers, they're incarcerated, deceased, running the street. So I'm for marrying your own. It's not my preference as a black woman to marry a white man. I could never do it. I would never do it. I'm just black man. That's my preference. I believe in the black family power structure. Black man, black woman, black child. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way our community is going to survive. By keeping us intact. The world doesn't want to see happy, successful black families. They want to destroy that. So, in my personal opinion, do everything you can to beat the odds and to not prove people right. Prove people wrong. Because at the end of the day, as black people, we have. Like, we don't have anyone else outside of us. So we have to keep our families together. So I agree with Dr. Umar on a lot of things he says. Some things I don't agree with. But when it comes to the situation of families and marriage, I do agree with him. Because like I said, you will never find a Hasidic Jew marrying a German, and we all know why you will never hear or see that. But black people, you find them marrying the descendants of the people who did their ancestors wrong for 400 years, and it's a brainwashing situation. So that's my take on it.
All right, y'all. We're done with that one. We're gonna move on to Black Excellence herself, Miss Venus Williams. She is in the Wimbledon Championship. She'll be playing in a couple hours, but it won't hit our television screens till 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, what are we feeling about that? Go ahead, Amina. This is all you. We'll start with the woman. Go ahead, Amina.
Yeah, I'm proud of her. I mean, they they obviously discovered that it wasn't her fault, which was a known fact, and she's about to get her career jump started. And I really do feel as though these people were out just to get her money. But I'm proud of her. Like, I hope she wins. She needs it. So I'm rooting for her. After what she's gone through for the last, I guess, few weeks. She just needs to unwind and get her mind back in the game and put her best foot forward. But it's a good thing she's out there now again.
Trey, it's all you. Oh, Amina, did you have more?
Uh-uh.
Okay. Trey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. My bad. Talking about Venus.
Yep.
Yep.
Honest with you, we've had conversations about Serena and Venus and tennis. I'm not a big tennis person, but it's always great to see them play. Whenever I'm watching Sports Center or whatever, I always enjoy seeing them succeed, Serena or Venus. So yeah, I mean that's really all I can say about it.
Matt, go ahead.
As far as Venus Williams is concerned, because I don't follow Venus. I haven't followed much of anything these days. So, with that being said, I hope she does win it. I mean, it's been a while. I think it's been a while that she won it. So let's keep on the short side. Let's. I hope she does win it, but I expect a good match nonetheless. I mean, the Williams sisters always bring it, so yeah. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, keep it with the trend. I'm one of the few people who follow tennis on this podcast. So, Venus Williams, I tweeted and put on my Facebook yesterday that she's crushing these young girls' dreams. She's fairly motivated. I said this last week. This is our second topic with Venus Williams. She's gonna win. Hopefully, I'm gonna say that the adrenaline and the anger is going to propel her to a victory. I'm not saying it's going to be in straight sets, even though she has been winning in straight sets these last two matchups with these young girls. So we'll see. But the girl she's facing does give her trouble. So we'll see what happens. But I think she'll win. And as I predicted last week, she'll win, and maybe as a show of good faith and some PR, because she know what time it is. She'll donate a percentage of her winnings to the victim, to the family. As Amina pointed out, initially the cops ruled in Florida cops ruled in that, it was her fault. Then they finally looked at the tape. I don't know why they didn't look at the tape before this, but they finally got a better picture of the accident and saw that she actually had a green light. And I guess it must have been the quickest light ever, or either it's the quickest light ever, or Venus Williams is the slowest famous driver ever. But she had a green light on her way in. The light somehow turned to red, and so instead of just being a crazy driver like most people when they have a light, she decided to slow up and be cautious. And unfortunately, that cost her. Well, yeah, it cost the man his life, and there must have been a wild person behind her or whatever. But it wasn't her fault, and hopefully this will propel her to do better. She is 37 years old. She has nothing to be ashamed of. She's about to be a 7-time Wimbledon champion. She's the second. She's the second greatest tennis player of our generation. She would be up there. Had Serena not won 25 titles, she might be up there with Serena. But since she's in the double digits herself, she's the second greatest. And, Venus has nothing to be ashamed of regardless of what happens, but she needs to win. All right. Moving right along to the other show that I don't think any of us are paying attention to besides on Sports Center and the news. The future fight in 6 weeks. So is this McGregor versus Floyd boxing match more than just a fight, gentlemen and lady. Uh, go ahead, Matt.
Honestly, it's grown. It shows where boxing is right now, and you know, I mean, I'm interested to see how this fight. I'm interested how it's gonna come out. So with that being, yeah, you know, with that being said, it is See, I personally, I'm not taking this seriously. I am not taking it as serious as I should. So with that, you know, even the pre-fight nonsense, the promotion of it is a bona fide joke. I mean, boxing has lost its luster. Boxing is not. I mean, UFC for a UFC fighter to cross over to boxing is it is I don't know. I mean, because my thing is simply this, okay? You know what? I can say this: that fight is going to make a lot of money. It's going to make a lot of money. That fight's going to make a lot of money. At the same time, I do have some reservations about that fight, as far as not just the legitimacy of it, but is it going to take boxing up to a level where it needs to be, where it was, where you know, watching boxing was awesome. Now UFC is taking over boxing, and you have Conor McGregor, you know, challenging Floyd Mayweather, Mr. I don't want to get hit. You know, the way I look at it right now, it's like, you know what? Y'all can have at it. I'm going to watch just for the fun of it and see how it turns out, but I'm not taking this very seriously.
Before anybody else goes, let's be real. We all know what time it is. We all know that Conor McGregor has no chance in this fight. It's a boxing match. If it was a wrestling match, he'd have a chance, but he has no chance. Go ahead.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go ahead, Amina.
Oh, what was the question? Because I was doing something. What was the question?
We're on McGregor versus Floyd. Yep. Is this more than a fight to you?
Well, it's not. It's just a regular fight to me. It's not nothing special. I mean, most people I know that are into watching boxing, they're not watching this spectacle next month. So it's hyped up. It's being talked about, but it's not nothing that'll be history making, so to speak. But it'll be decent to see how it goes. I mean, you know, Floyd is Floyd, McGregor is McGregor, and it is what it is.
True. Trey, you there?
Yep, I'm here. I'm enjoying their little thing they're doing, going back and forth. I mean, I know it's just marketing. Their people are telling them to say this, these things, whatever. Still entertaining. I'm looking forward to the fight. And I mean, for all we know, Mayweather could just wear him out, right? Or McGregor could win, right? We had the same thing with Pacquiao versus Mayweather. Now Pacquiao is a much better probably a much better, or is a much better boxer than McGregor. And he is a boxer, whereas McGregor hasn't actually boxed since he was like 15 or something. But I mean, it's more than a fight, but I don't really think so. For them, it's more of a pride thing. For them, I think it's more than a fight. I mean, it's just entertainment, for real, for real. You know, McGregor is considered the best fighter in, I guess, what is he, MMA? And Floyd is considered technically like the best, the best boxer, even though he's technically retired. So I mean, I think it'll more than likely it'll be a good fight. But for them, it's more than a fight. It's kind of like a pride thing. You know, I'm better than you. I can beat you. You know, like he said, I'll beat him in 4 rounds. You know, Floyd is sitting there in a just smiling. And then he challenges him to bet his whole fight check, and I mean, it's good entertainment from my perspective. That's really all it is. To them, it's more of pride and, you know, who's the better fighter type of thing. I don't think it's really, you know, maybe it could end up like this where it turns out to be this whole thing about race, but I don't see it as that. You know, you kind of look back at some of the things, and I haven't really done research on some of the things that McGregor has said in terms of things that people say he said about racism, you know, some racist comments he's made or whatever the case may be. So I kind of have to go look back at that. But like, if this were a thing where like everybody knew, like McGregor is just straight up racist, you know, like out in the open, no covert operations, like he's just an overt racist, and Floyd Mayweather has been like a civil rights activist, you know, for years, right? And like, this is what like they're fighting because Floyd Mayweather is like, nah, we need to fight and shut you, and then, you know, I'm gonna shut you up because you ain't, you know, you can't do that. It's 2017. Look, we need to get, you know, if it was that, then I can see that, right? But Floyd is not a civil rights activist, and as far as I know, I mean, from my knowledge of some things that McGregor has said, you know, those things aren't necessarily true. So maybe not that he hasn't made comments, but that he's just this overt racist who just hates black people or something like that. So I think it's more of a pride thing for them, and for us, it's just potentially good entertainment and a good fight, maybe.
All right, listen, I'm gonna add to it. Listen, I'm not really a fan of boxing either. I don't think there's there's no true boxing fan in this podcast. For real. I grew up watching it as like the 5th or 6th sport, whatever. Nothing else was on. But you know, this fight is a fight. You know, I'm of the mindset of Trey. It's just good entertainment. But then you look at the comment sections of every video conference, and let me just start by saying this: I'm not gonna spend money on this fight. I'm gonna wait until it shows up on HBO or as a 30 for 30 series, or just because you don't even need to order the fight. Twitter gonna tell you everything that happens anyway. If he gets knocked out, let me be honest, right? I am the most, like, I think this is a good thing for boxing. It's good for MMA. Everybody wins. Everybody gets more popularity and new fans to their dying sport. Great, but it's good. It's good entertainment. Like, it's a good thing to talk about when there's nothing else going on and it's happening at the perfect time. in August when basketball's done, football is just getting started in the preseason. And let's be real, nobody cares about preseason football. And you have that, and this fight is just good. All right. Matt cares about preseason football, but and baseball. My bad, Matt, and baseball. So you really it's not competing with anything but baseball. So it has all that, and it's a good fight. But I was of the mindset like Trey, but then I started seeing the comment sections of these video and news conferences, and I'm all like, people are actually taking this to the level of like Black America versus Ireland. And I said this a couple weeks ago. I don't think Trey was on this podcast, but Matt and Amina will remember. I said before this fight, at like literally a couple of days after it broke that this was going to happen, that this would happen, that it would wind up being Black people versus Ireland, and there'd be people like going in, repping hard for Black America and repping hard for Ireland. And it's starting to turn into that, and it's kind of getting weird because we all know what's going to happen. This is a boxing match. Conor McGregor hasn't boxed. He even admitted this since he was 12 years old. He just started boxing only 3 months ago, and I doubt that in 3 months of training, he'll be able to beat Floyd Mayweather. Even if he doesn't knock him out, I doubt he'll be able to land any real punches on him and everything. So, Floyd Mayweather has made a career about not being touched, being faster than everybody, not knocking you out, wearing you out, as Trey pointed out. So this really shouldn't be much of a match. I know Floyd Mayweather said in one of these press conferences that he's thinking about getting into the octagon with Conor McGregor. And Floyd, I know you're probably too big to listen to this podcast, but I hope somebody is listening that can get this to you. My dog, you are a boxer. You are not a wrestler. You have never done MMA in your life. The closest you come is probably watching it like the rest of us. Do not get into an octagon with that man. Do not do it, because whatever you do to him, because I'm of the mindset that you're going to embarrass him during this boxing match. You may not knock him out, but you'll embarrass him. And for your health, Floyd, I don't want you in the octagon with him after you embarrass him. Because let's be real, Conor McGregor over the last few months, I don't really care about MMA, but it's on SportsCenter, so I kind of catch the highlights. Conor McGregor has been getting embarrassed in the octagon for the past few months. Every big fight he's had, he's lost a couple of them. I do not want you in the octagon, Floyd. I really don't care. Like, honestly, like you're a great boxer, but I don't really care about your well-being, because you don't really. You're just a boxer, you changed your middle name to Money and everything. So, I don't really have any stake in your well-being, but just because of what you mean to the culture, and you don't really mean nothing to me, but you mean a lot to a lot of people I know, stay out of the octagon, beat him in this boxing match, however long it takes, and then get your money, take your $300 million, and don't box that man again. Y'all turning this, I don't know if they intended to do this, but, this is just the craziness of people. You're turning this into Black America versus Ireland, and this is not what it needs to be, because the Irish are crazy, Black people are crazy, especially when it comes to sports. We're not doing this. So there doesn't need to be a part 2 of this. It just needs to be part 1 and be over. And Floyd Mayweather, I don't care how much money Dana White wants to throw in your face. If it's $1 billion, do not get in that octagon. No matter.
Full darn well is going to take the money. Wait till TNT stands for the money team. This man is beyond a reproach right now. That man does not. I have not seen a dollar he did not like so far. I really haven't. And Floyd is that way right now. I mean, even when I watched the interview with Stephen A. Smith, I think last year or something, and his demeanor is like really like he don't care. He does not care. I'm like this. You want to get in the octagon and get your clock cleaned out? By all means, get your clock cleaned out. But this man has not. That man has not like a dollar that has not come out his way. So, with that being said, if you want to get not to bleep out, let get not to bleep out. Plain and simple.
All right. Well, Matt really doesn't care about Floyd Mayweather's well-being, but we're gonna move on to.
Pacquiao won that fight.
We're going to move on to the NBA free agency, and we have no Warriors question, so I know Amina is very disappointed, but we do have a Western Conference question that lasted all of a couple of weeks for Steph Curry. Well, it will last a year, but he's been outdone. James Harden has signed the biggest let me get my words right. The biggest extension in league history. What are your thoughts? And just because I know this is going to blow Matt's mind, so I want to get this out the way. Matt, he's going to be making now. Steph Curry will still be the highest paid NBA player this year, but come 2019, James Harden will be making $43 million a year. So you can $43 to $44 million a year, depending on the salary cap. So, and just for math's sake, that is $57,000 a game. Go ahead, Matt.
Try $570,000 a game.
Sorry, $570. You know what I meant. Go ahead.
Man, do you know how many people make that in a year versus how many make that in 10 years versus a game? I envy this man. Look. The Rockets are making it clear. They want to take their Lord of Mina, you're on. But I want to say this thing. The Rockets are trying to do one thing and one thing only: to beat the Warriors and beat the Spurs. End of story. Why? Hell, I think they're trying to go after Carmelo too. So they're not done, and they feel as though they could build around. What's his name? The Rockets build on Harden. So with that being said, to overdo Steph Curry, I think it's a bit much. But I hope they have enough money to get the parts that they need to take it to the next level, so they can get to the Western Conference Finals and hopefully beat Golden State or San Antonio or whoever's in front of them. I mean, they're right now one of the top 5 teams in the whole entire league right now, based on paper. On paper, don't shoot me yet. It's on paper, but they're one of the best. They're up there as one of the best teams on paper right now. So I think that they made a very wise decision, investment-wise, on their future. They feel as though they're 2 to 3 years. So I would have done the same thing. Money-wise, I'm not too sure about that as far as their salary cap situation is concerned. However, with that being said, hey, you know what? They want it. They feel as though that when they're there and they take every opportunity and making every effort to make sure they get their, I think, their 3rd title. So go them. Go Houston.
Trey? Trey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm cooking something. Sorry, y'all. Excuse the background noise. I was actually in Florida, so I saw Steph Curry's contract, and I was like, hold up, what's going on here? What was it? 5 years, 201. It's like 200. It's not even 201.2 million or something like that. So by year until his original contract would have ended, Steph Curry will be the highest paid, right? Until James' original contract would have ended, which is what, 2019 or 2020. But I mean, we're just seeing big contract after big contract, and the Rockets, like Matt said, they're trying to beat the Warriors. They're trying to beat the Spurs. They're trying to make sure that they stay better than the Clippers. So not only did they lock up James Harden for the next, I think 5 years, they also signed or traded for Chris Paul, which which weakens their competition significantly. So, that's what they're about. They're about beating the Warriors and trying to win a championship, and I don't blame them. So, we're only going to see contracts. The total dollar amount of these contracts they're only going to rise, right? Guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Karl Anthony Towns, these younger guys whose rookie contracts haven't gone up. Imagine what it's going to be like when they get their contracts. Guys like maybe even Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, these guys, when their contracts go up, they're going to be getting $300 million contracts, So, but that's where the NBA is going in terms of contracts. It's really getting up there, and it's almost like MLB, baseball contracts in a way. That's where the NBA is headed because the salary cap is just. And actually, this year, it actually didn't go up as much as expected. So the contracts that we're seeing are actually less than what they were expected in terms because of the salary cap not actually going up as much as was expected. So.
All right, here go. Go ahead, Amina. Take off. Defend your Warriors.
I'm actually happy for James Harden. He deserves his money and he brings the game. And I agree that they're trying to beat my team and they're trying to beat the Spurs and they're trying to not let the Clippers get even with them. I feel as though they want a championship win, and if they were to ever get one in the coming seasons that are coming up, I'd be very happy for them. They're a decent, respectable team, and I feel as though he deserves it. And I feel as though that players that honestly do deserve their money, they're eventually going to get it in the NBA. We haven't seen the end or even the middle as of yet of these mega contracts. Who knows how much money a player can get? It just depends on individual team salary caps. But yeah, I'm very happy for him. I'm rooting for his career and I support him. And I wish him all the best.
Listen, I'm of the mindset. I'm very happy for James Harden. I'm not here to hate. I'm gonna turn
Congratulations.
I'm gonna turn off. I'm gonna turn off my basketball insider side because you all know I love and I can. If you follow WatsonSportsTakes.com, you know my favorite sport is basketball, and so I live and breathe basketball. And football is my second favorite, but I live and breathe basketball. So I'm just gonna turn off the meter and not tell y'all. I will save this question for next week about does anything that the have we'll get a larger free agency topic next week. But today I'm happy for James Harden, even though he's got to wait until 2019 before he can supplant Steph Curry and become the richest basketball player playing the game. I'm happy for him. He deserves it. He's come a long way from being the sixth man on OKC's team to now being the star of Houston. And the biggest mistake OKC ever made, besides losing Kevin Durant, the first one was getting rid of James Harden and not paying him the money. And OKC's loss was Houston's gain. And so Houston hasn't had a megastar like that Since Hakeem Olajuwon, but just to keep it recent from when we were kids, Yao
Don't forget
Ming.
about Tracy.
No, I'm getting there. Yao Ming, Steve Francis, and Tracy McGrady. Those were their last three superstars, right? And they haven't had a star that big. And James Harden is better than all three of them. He might take them to a finals. They might get Carmelo. I don't know if that'll help them or not, but they might get Carmelo. And Houston is trying to come for Golden State's throne, as was pointed out. They want to come for the Spurs. They want to at least be the second best team. And I think on paper they are the second best team. Now, does this mean they'll be able to beat Golden State in 7 games? Probably not. Does this mean they're a lot closer to beating San Antonio and getting to face Golden State in the Western Conference? Probably. So, we'll see. But James Harden is one of the 4 players that you can build around, not name Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. So, he's up there. He's a top 5 player currently in this NBA. So, he deserves his money. He deserves his $43 to $44 million. So, I can't be mad at him. He's earned his money. He didn't try and leave OKC and go join a super team and start a super team. Everybody's joining him. He is the one of the top shooting guards. Like he is the top shooting guard in the NBA. So he deserves his money. I can't be mad at him. He's the best shooting guard in the NBA. He deserves his money. I can't even hate on him. So moving on to our next question. Because y'all know, well, we gotta follow the pattern. We can't have an NBA player getting paid without a story about those hitting behind NFL players. So guys, Richard Sherman came out during the ESPY Awards. Yes, the sports world had their Oscars, the ESPY Awards, and Richard Sherman said that the NFL players will need to be prepared to strike next year or whenever the contract is up. I think it is in 2018. So, guys, are NFL players actually going to strike in 2018 or 2019? I haven't really looked up when the contract is up. I think it's next year. So, we started with Matt the last few topics. Let's start with Amina. Go ahead, Amina.
Well, last week you said, I think it was either last week or the week before, you had mentioned it. The contract is coming up, within a year or two. You got the big people now talking about it. They get less money than the NBA players, and I think they're frustrated. So I could say that I'm leaning, possibly towards them striking. I mean, we don't know because we're not living in the future right now, but I could see it possibly happening, and striking is one of the few ways to get your voice heard out here when things aren't going the way you want them, and when you're dissatisfied, you just stand up for yourself and go get what's yours or what you desire. So I see them striking at some point if things do not progress in the direction in which the 32 teams want. So it's a possibility, and I support them if they do so. It'd be sad if, can't watch football games, but they're going to be doing it for a good cause. It's not going to be a strike, but it's an understandable cause, so I respect it and I support it. And that's my take on that.
Trey, it's all you. Just right down the line.
Will they strike? I mean, it's stuff like this is speculative. If I'm not mistaken, Richard Sherman is actually part of the players' union. So if he might actually be the person to listen to. He's been outspoken about, players, what the players think and all that type of stuff. And if they're going to strike, now is the time to strike, for real. Because they're looking at MLB players, they're looking at now NBA players after salary cap is going up, getting these really big contracts. And, NFL players stay getting these, you get $100 million contract. That's everything, right? 100. If you sign $100 million contract, that's basically top notch, in the NFL. And for the most part, I mean, it's rare. You don't just teams are not just throwing out $100 million contracts. Mike Vick had 2, I think. Who else has had a $100 million contract? I mean, it's very few people have had $100 million. You've had people get close to that in the 90s, the high 90s, but you got NBA players and MLB players and even soccer players getting $200 million contracts, and in baseball and close to $300 million contracts. So, I mean, right now NFL players they're drooling when they look at soccer, baseball, and basketball players, and if they want to
even hockey,
right? Even hockey, right? If they want to strike, now is the time to do it. When this contract, when this collective bargaining agreement, when the contract goes up, strike. I mean, like Amina said, I'd be a little bit upset that there won't be some football, but you got to remember that these are people's jobs, right? This is not just, it's for us, it's entertainment, but for them, this is also their job. At home, it might be entertainment. They might watch themselves or watch college football. For them, this is their job too. It's not just, they're not just putting on entertainment for us. So, if they gotta, if they want it and they think that, the $200 million contract is theirs, or they should be they're valuing themselves, they got to go get it, man. And if a strike is the way to do that, we're gonna have a strike in whatever it is, 2019 or whatever. And unfortunately, that means no football for a little bit, a shortened season potentially. But in a lockout or a strike happens, usually weird things happen. So a team that you didn't expect to do well actually does well. So, I mean, you go back to the NBA lockout. That was a weird season. It's a really weird season. But LeBron James got his first championship. So, I mean, if that's what the NFL players need to do is strike or go into a lockout because they can't get a CBA done, then that's what they got to do.
As far as the strike is concerned, if the NFL rises up and see the landscape of how sports is changing, I think they should wise up to that. Like I said, hockey, like Trey said, baseball, soccer, hockey, but even the NBA now, their contracts are getting bigger. The salary cap is getting bigger. I mean, I alluded to last week as far as how baseball's contracts situations are. It's about their market. As far as the NFL is concerned, they should do whatever they can to avoid the strike because the NFL has become and grew into a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the sport is not a worldwide sport, it is an American endeavor. However, it has gotten worldwide appeal as far as watching it and everything else is concerned. if you want the players union, you should say to yourself, I want some of this pie too. The NFL is making money hand over fist. And you must find a way to literally say, you know what, we want a piece of this pie too. Now, as far as the collective bargaining agreement is concerned, I think, well, when that is up, that is something that has to be on the table. Now, like any union, you want to avoid a strike, but that is on the table. If you don't, not supposed to give us what you want or else this. But like, look, work with us, we'll work with you. And the things though, all these other sports are getting their money and getting a hand over fist. Why not us? And oh, by the way, livelihood in the National Football League is the shortest. So you want to get your money. You want to get as much money as you can, and as much of the pie as you can eat. So I don't blame them. If they do strike, they do strike. But you have to understand, as a union, you don't want to do that. You lose money that way, personally. But if you're fighting for, as far as money and working conditions and everything else. Remember, the NFL is a very brutal league not as far as the play, but as far as money is concerned. And let's not forget, NFL, their contracts is not guaranteed money, so that's something they need to look into as well. It's not them not getting guaranteed money. So it's so much stuff is going on, but you have to. But for them to strike will be an embarrassment to the NFL. They have done this. They've done this before in the '80s, and it looked bad. It was just bad on all fronts. However, the NFL needs to work with the players' union and everything else to make sure that, look, we cannot have another 1986 strike. Can't have that. It damn near killed the sport. Damn near did it. And you don't want to be like 1993 baseball. You don't want to do that either. And I think hockey, when the last time they striked. So, if you're the NFL, you know the fact that you make a hand over fist. Roger Goodell, you better make the wise decision. Open up that pie and give the players what they deserve. Particularly a guaranteed contract.
As Matt said, the biggest sticking point for the NFL players, other than the fact that they want their pie, is we don't know the structure of the NFL Players Union, right? Right now, I know that it's run by DeMaurice Smith. I don't know if they have a president. I think he runs the Players Association. I don't think the structure is set up like it is for the NBA and probably the MLB and all these other leagues where they have a player representative who is president, and then they have, somebody who runs it, but they answer to the players. I don't know. I think DeMaurice Smith does his own thing, and that's how it's seen every time Adam Schefter or any of them say anything. And it's just like, I don't really think the players have much of a say even in their own union. So this is why I think it's good. First and foremost, what I think the players need to do before they decide to strike. And I'm in agreement with Trey, Amina, and Matt. I think it's time they do need to strike because they have the shortest shelf life of any sport. They only play about maybe 4 to 8 years before they retire and concussions get them. And I hate saying it like that, but it really is. Like they got a good 4 to 8 years, and then they retire, and then we're reading something that they have concussions or CTE or something, right? So they have a really short shelf life. So I don't know why it took them this long to realize they needed to strike, but I'm glad that Richard Sherman and all them finally arrived at this fact. It's not about how long it takes you. It's all about the journey. So, they definitely need guaranteed contracts. The other thing that they need to do is, if they want to start making money and taking over like the NBA takes over, whereas, when the NFL is over, it's over, they need to get rid of the franchise tag. That's another thing they need to get rid of because, really the NFL You know, and I hate saying it, but the NFL is the sport that is the closest to slavery, because when you really think about the NFL, right, nobody else has a job where, you know, a place can't honor the contract that you signed. The NFL is the only workplace that I know of where you sign a contract and the employer can get rid of you for any reason. Basically, just say, "Oh, you got injured last year, and I found a younger replacement from Widener who could do your job better than you can. Bye," and cut you. And you might have just signed a $100 million contract, but it's not guaranteed, and they can cut you. And then when your contract's over, they don't let you hit free agency. It's not real free agency. Like the NFL has fake free agency. That's another thing. I know that's making somebody's blood boil on this podcast right now because I call it fake free agency. But it really is fake free agency because these teams have the franchise tag. Football is the only sport where people have franchise tags that don't allow the players to actually have freedom to choose what they want. It actually limits players from making money. Kirk Cousins, even though I despise the Washington sports team, Kirk Cousins deserves to make his money. He deserves to be paid what the market dictates that he should be paid. Now, the highest paid football player currently is, and I don't think anybody will believe this, is Joe Flacco at $24 million a year, right? He's the highest paid football player. He makes more money than Amina's favorite quarterback, Derek Carr. He makes more money than Aaron Rodgers. He makes more money than Andrew Luck, even though Andrew Luck just signed a new contract. He is the highest paid player in the NFL. $24.1 million is how much a year is how much Joe Flacco gets. Now, compared to Steph Curry, compared to Tim Hardaway Jr., compared to a lot of NBA players, that's chump change, right? But that's the highest paid player in the NFL, Joe Flacco. Some people didn't even know that. I just found that out. I thought it was Aaron Rodgers or Andrew Luck. No, it's Joe Flacco, right? And you know, it is amazing. And that just says it all right there. You don't have free agency. You know, you probably make a lot more money, and the NFL could probably take over more months than it does. Instead of this lull, it ends in February, and then we don't pick it back up again until April. You know, it can really dominate like the NBA dominates. Like you see it now. The NBA just ended in June. We still talk about the NBA. We'll probably talk about the NBA going into August because somebody will do something else and sign a new contract. You know, maybe Russell Westbrook will sign a higher paid contract than both James Harden and Steph Curry. No one knows. But the NBA, but that's what happens when you have a progressive players union and players that are willing to stand up for their rights. See, I made this point last week. I'll make it again because it's a powerful point. NFL players are selfish. That's what they are. The most individualistic sport is the NFL. It is the nature of the game. The NFL, even though they preach team, when you see these players, they act in their own best interest. That's why they don't get a bigger piece of the pie. That's why it's a 60-40 split of the money instead of 50-50 like in the NBA, right? It's 60-40 because these players know, oh, I have a short shelf life. I'm Richard Sherman. I hit people. I take hits. I'm 28. I have about 2 or 3 good years of football left in me before I have to start thinking about my next move. And some players don't even have that because you have players retiring at age 24 and 25, even earlier than the 30s. So, you know, the NFL, they need to strike. You know, bottom line, they need to strike. I don't know, Matt. Do you want to do your baseball update?
Basically what it was, the All-Star break was this week anyway, so I'm gonna hold it for next week.
All right. So all right, we can all right then. Let's say anybody else has anything. We'll move on to Lonzo Ball, our favorite topic. So moving right along to Lonzo Ball, right? Lonzo Ball, guys, he has had 3 straight triple doubles. And I asked the same question we asked when Markelle Fultz was putting up numbers before he got hurt. Is Lonzo? Is this a big deal or not, or should we wait until October? Is it just summer league? Tell me, what up, man?
Dude, it's the summer league. I mean, most of these guys will not going to be on the NBA roster by October, November anyway. I mean, it's impressive these triple doubles in summer league. It's impressive, but it doesn't impress me. Okay, at the end of the day, when open day rolls around and the real plays are in and the real games count, I want to see how he reacts. This is basically you're playing against your team, like basically college, part 2. Only they're out of college. It honestly is for me. Look, my thing is simply this: it's impressive to watch. It's good to see what these kids can do. But I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not fully impressed. Is this eye candy? The summer league is eye candy. It's like it's I'm going down to the shore and knowing full well I'm not going to take any of these women home, but they're good to look at because it's good old-fashioned eye candy. And that's what the NBA really is. It's eye candy. The summer league, excuse me. It's eye candy. So, it's not for some of you basketball junkies that love the game so much, and I'm not knocking it. That's fine while I'm there. Jesus, for crying out loud, you have to WNBA. I mean, come on, really, seriously. But on the real side of things, the summer league is eye candy. It really is. But also, you get to see the potential of what they can do and what they can work on, and also getting them acclimated into the NBA game and NBA rules and everything else. Lonzo Ball hitting triple doubles every game so far, I believe. I could be wrong. It's great. It's wonderful. I don't care. What can you replicate that in a real NBA 82 game grind? Which honestly, no. It's possible, but no, you're not. It's not. No, I don't see it. But right now, enjoy it while it lasts, ladies and gentlemen, because by the time November rolls around, look out.
Trey?
What was the question again, so I can get my thoughts together?
Lonzo Ball and them triple doubles in the summer league.
Right. Okay. So Lonzo Ball. I had something. I lost my train of thought. So Lonzo Ball's had 3 triple doubles in a row. Yeah, his first one was 11, 11, and 11, I think. 2 nights ago, he put up like 36, 11, and so. And then tonight, he put up like 16, 10, and 11 or something like that. And somewhat impressive, right? It's impressive. He's playing against it's impressive just to put up a triple-double, right? But who is he playing against? You got to remember that. In the summer league, it's just a bunch of, they're not all rookies, but I mean, it's just a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds, pretty much, with the exception of some of the older rookies and some of the older guys who are considered rookies and are playing against. But I mean, for the most part, summer league is all 18 to 23 or maybe even 24-year-olds, depending on the rookies who are seniors, right? And some of the best players in the summer league, or that would be in the summer league, are not even playing. Guys like Joel Embiid, who technically should be playing. Ben Simmons is not playing. Markelle Fultz is now hurt. There's a lot of players who at their age should be playing, but they've already kind of, like somebody like Devin Booker, right? Devin Booker he's only in he's just finished his second year, right? It's potentially somebody who could still be playing in the summer league, but he's kind of already pushed himself into stardom, right? So you have to think about competition, right? It's summer league, so he's not really playing against, superior talent. He's just kind of playing against other players. He's. I mean, not to say that. Okay, yeah, he put up a triple double, and not to say that this is not something to look forward to in the future in terms of his ability to play. This does not mean that he, it's summer league, so he, he put up good numbers, but he can't play. He's clearly saying, okay, this is summer league, and I'm a step above these guys. But once you summer league is it's almost like real game practice, right? It's like you're in practice and you're scrimmaging, right? It's like you take the bench, and this bench is just like scrimmaging against each other. Pretty much, that's pretty much what this is, with the exception of, the top tier rookies and the top tier guys who are in the summer league. But none of these teams would even come close to really beating any of the 30 NBA teams. So, I mean, you got to take that into consideration. And, we've had players do well in the summer league and then not actually do well in real NBA, in real NBA games. And then I think it's funny. I don't know about tonight or I think it was 3 nights ago or 4 nights ago. But the night he scored the 36, he was actually wearing Kobe's, which was just really ironic because if you look at the Lonzo Ball sneakers, first of all, why is he not wearing his own sneakers? Second of all, they look just like Kobe's. And third of all, he wears Kobe's during a game and then ends up putting up 36 points. But so I mean, I just find that a little bit funny, but Lonzo Ball is, I mean, for all I know, he's going to be a good player, right? But I think the hype over him right now is a little too much just because, Summer League is not, I mean, if you go back, I don't know if y'all remember this. One of the greatest plays of all time happened in the Summer League. It was some guy, I don't even know his name. I don't even think he plays in the NBA anymore. Maybe he's in the D League. But he kind of came down the lane, did a spin move, and passed the ball to somebody in the paint. And I don't know, you guys have probably seen that. One of the greatest plays in Summer League history. And the guy's nowhere to be found. So just because somebody does well in Summer League is not necessarily the same way in college. I mean, it's same thing with college. It's like just because someone does well in college does not mean that they're going to be a good NBA player. Lonzo won't be a good NBA player. He probably will. But we got to stop putting this guy on a pedestal like he's some god, right? And saying, okay, Lonzo is the next LeBron James or Lonzo is the next this. I mean, at best, I think what Lonzo is going to turn out to be is Jason Kidd. Shoot, Jason Kidd really didn't develop his 3-point shot until later on in his career. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with being Jason Kidd, but I mean, to me, that's what Lonzo's going to turn out to be is Jason Kidd, but instead of developing his jump shot later on in his career, he's got the jump shot. So that adds, let's say that adds to his scoring average. And I mean, that's what Lonzo Ball is to me. He's a probably a better scoring version of Jason Kidd without and not as good of a defender.
All right, Amina, go ahead.
Yeah, but what Matt and Trey said, it's summer league. It's to me, it's the equivalent of tryouts for the cheerleading squad. Summer league is not really important. Like you could do so well in summer league, but the real basketball is from October to June. So, like I said, you could do well during summer league. You could be all that, but when the real games come in October, you could be the worst player ever. So, it's just trying to weed out to see the new crop of players coming in. So, I don't take summer league serious. I don't take anyone playing in summer league serious in any year because they could be in summer league and disappear to thin dust after it's over. So I think we should just not pipe him up. Let him go through an entire season to see how he fares with the real game with the big boys. Because at the end of the day, summer league is just irrelevant. Like, he's not competing for anything, just competing for a spot. So we should just let him do what he do during this summer and see how he fares with the actual legit players on the Lakers. Because, the regular basketball season is different than summer league. Summer league is just tryouts. It's not even preseason. So I don't I don't pay attention to it. I don't pipe anyone up that's in summer league.
Excuse me. Yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna hype it up. It's just summer league. It's nothing. It's nothing to It's impressive. He's got 3 straight triple doubles. I agree with Trey that he's a better scoring version of Jason Kidd and anything. He just needs to change his jump shot. That jump shot got to be better. Ugly shot right now, but he is proven that so far. He's everything that you would expect, but we'll see once he has to face real competition. Because right now all summer league are the players that are going to actually make a roster and the players that are going to be in the D League. Now, G League, that's really all it is. It's a G League, an NBA tryout. That's all summer league is. Who's going to the G League and who's going to the NBA? That's all it is, right? And, Lonzo Ball has done more to continue to seal his spot so than Markelle Fultz. That's why Markelle Fultz didn't play after he rolled his ankle. It's good. I'm not going to put him on an unnecessary pedestal. He did what he was supposed to do, play the game, show up and show out. And that's what he did in every game except his debut game last week. And ever since then, he's been showing up and showing out. So, we'll see come October 31st or what happens or whatever the Lakers' first game is, and we'll see if that the Lakers will make the playoffs or if they won't. So going on to the next question, y'all. It's a continuation. Now Trey wasn't here. I don't know if you listened to the podcast from last week, but we're back here. Adam Silver, for some reason, decided to come out and address this whole 16-team playoff thing and getting rid of the conferences. He said he's not going to do it for now. So the question is, should he even have said anything? I'll start. Adam Silver, one of the most progressive NBA commissioners there is, and probably the most likable of all 4, right? Adam, Mr. Silver, you did not have to do this. You should have just let ESPN and basketball and quote unquote basketball fans you should have just left them in the win, man. They don't need the top 16 playoff. Matt Amina and I went in on this last week. Like we said, Trey wasn't here; he was in Florida, but we went over this last week, and for lack of to summarize what I said it like this, right? This is not the NCAA where you could have the top 16 teams play. And unlike the NCAA, we can't limit these teams by region because whoever makes the playoffs deserves to have a home game. at least 2 home games in their building, and it doesn't work like the NCAA where you can just put a bunch of teams in one part of the country, let them play from Thursday to Sunday, and whoever wins goes on to the next round. It doesn't work. Logistically, it doesn't work. Besides that, these are professional basketball players, people you pay to play basketball. No. Listen, just because it's the West turn and the West is dominating like the East did in the 80s and 90s does not mean that we need to get rid of something that works. The reason why there's an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference is not because a lot of you basketball fans are bored because you're tired of Cleveland and Golden State or the Spurs and somebody else being in the finals these last few years. It is what happens. The NBA has always been a 4 to 5 team league, whereas it's the same couple of teams always making it to the finals or always making it to the Eastern Conference finals. It's what happens. It's what happens when you have 7 games. It's not like the NFL. It's not like the NFL and the NCAA. I'm about to make some of you March Madness and football fans mad because I'm about to piss y'all off and bring up my favorite argument. It's not like the NBA, NHL, and MLB don't rely on luck to determine their champions. It's not luck that determines something. The NBA, MLB, and NHL rely on best of 4. The most talented team will show up in 4 or 5 games or however long it takes to provide a winner. That's what those leagues believe in. And that's the way it should stay. And there's a reason why there shouldn't be a top 16 team. And one of the main reasons is because it will be Western dominated and it will only be like 4 teams that make it from the East. No, you keep it the way it is. Whoever wins, wins. And if you got to wait 5 years for Golden State and Cleveland to fall off so it can be a new dominant team in each conference, so be it. Just because one conference is dominating, it's like y'all never seen one conference dominate before. Pay attention. Look on ESPN Classic and the NBA Network and look at the old school games. Do you not remember the Lakers and Celtics? Do you not remember all those teams, those 2 teams that used to dominate? Chicago in the 90s, the Spurs from the 90s to 2006. Stop acting like this never happened before. Matt, go in before I blow a gasket.
I said it before last week. I'll say it again. Why are we talking about this? Why are we explaining this? And now Adam Silver, by far of all the 4 commissioners in sports, the most level-headed, is exploring this. No, don't, because this is to do away with the conferences and best 16 goes. It's a terrible idea. I mean, it is not conducive because, like I said, league evolves. I mean, one conference may be more dominant than another. So, with that being said, so it's a waste. It's a waste. I've said it earlier. I mean, even the AFL, the AFC and NFC, for example, those are split because those are 2 different companies at one point. American League, National League, and baseball, 2 separate companies. Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and hockey was split due to expansion. So each sport is different. The NBA should stick to East versus West concept because, well, it works. It really works. So for them to do this, it's just bad. It's a bad idea for them to do. So, and just let it play itself out. Just let it play itself out. That's the way. That's what it's supposed to be. Just let it play itself out. So, one of the other 2 can have this because to even give it any play is silly. It's a fans concept. And anything you talk to will try, well, this is better. No, it's not better. It's stupid. That's what it is. It's just flat out stupid. You're in the Eastern Conference like the Sixers, this is a golden opportunity to get to win and probably get to the Eastern Conference if that far. Silly. Thanks ESPN for screwing me over.
Trey, Trey, it's your turn.
Um, I mean, I don't know where this whole top 16 playoff team thing came from. I mean, it doesn't really work in the NBA. It's just best to have. Excuse me. It's just best to have the top 8 seeds in the East and the West play rather than doing like a just overall top 16. It just, I mean, it just works out better. Is And should Adam Silver have said anything about it? I mean, that's a game of semantics. He probably shouldn't have really even mentioned it and gave it any play. Um, because, but I don't think it's a big idea. I mean, a big deal that he's all he was saying was, it's not, that's not something we're gonna do. Because he knows that it's not smart. And I don't know, maybe he felt it was necessary. Some people think, if something comes up that they find stupid or that they're like, okay, we're not going to do this. Some people feel the need to make that known. Some people just don't pay it any mind. An example is LeBron. Like, people talk about LeBron all the time, right? And rarely does he ever really say anything about it. He doesn't really spit back on social media, stuff like that. And maybe Adam Silver is different than that. Something comes up where somebody gives an idea about top 16 playoffs. And he feels the need to shoot it down. And that's really all that happened. Excuse me. I mean, that's really plain semantics, but it doesn't really matter whether he said it or not. He felt like he needed to shoot the idea down.
Mina, it's your turn.
Yeah, just reiterating what I said either last week or the week before. I forget which week. Yeah, they don't need to get rid of the conferences. That's stupid. The conferences were established to basically just give structure to the organization. If you get rid of the conferences, you have then you have a situation where everything is discombobulated and unorganized. The conferences keep everything straight. Like, why would you want to get rid of those? So I have nothing more to say other than what I said previous when this topic was brought up. But I don't think that statement he made should have been made. Everything should stay how it is with the games from preseason all the way up to the finals. Everything should stay the way it is. And it keeps the teams in competition. Sure, the Western Conference is going to be dominating for the next several years, but the Eastern Conference, they just have to get themselves together and shake off whatever dead weight they're dragging along and do something. It's just like the Western Conference came up, the Eastern Conference can come up too. And if you go back even in the 90s, the Eastern Conference was the ones that was dominating the NBA. So it flip flops as the years goes on, and who knows? Several years from now, the conferences may switch power. You know, who knows? But the conferences need to stay. Like, that's crazy talk to talk about getting rid of them. Like, no, that doesn't need to happen.
Okay, y'all. Well, we're moving right along. We only have about 3 more questions left. Not really a question one. We could probably just do whatever with. But to make a long story short, this is a question for the group. Do we want to, anybody got a strong reaction to what happened in Montgomery County as far as those four? I got boys, but those four young men that went missing.
Bucks County.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Bucks County. Anybody got a strong reaction that they just feel like sharing? You know?
Yeah. The way they got this in the media, I mean, I'm at a nursing and rehab center out in Bryn Mawr, PA, and out there in the suburbs, that's all they're talking about. I'm tired of hearing about it, quite frankly, because at the end of the day, they dragged this out in the media. Sure, rest in peace to them. My thoughts go out to their families, but I can guarantee you, if they were black, no one would care. This would not have been in the media as much as it was. People wouldn't be talking about it. It's just different. I mean, things go on with black people and we get a different reaction. So, I mean, I'm split because loss of life is loss of life, but at the end of the day, how the media has handled it, it's not the same as it would have been if it was a person of color, a people of color. People are talking about this. It's like heavily on their minds out where I'm at during the day. I just feel as though people got different ideas of what's priority. But loss of life is loss of life. I just feel as though it should be an even playing field as far as whatever's happening in the country should get the same equal media time. You know.
True. And as a no, go ahead. Were you done? Sorry.
I'm finished.
Okay. But as a media member, not to speak for all of them, but going by what we're taught, if it bleeds, it leads, and unfortunately, because of that, and because of where it was, and because of the affluence of those four boys, and three of them being white, one of them looked like he might have been Latino, so they weren't all white. But there was like you said, it's on their minds, and that's what unfortunately, in a perfect world, and I agree with you, even as a media member, in a perfect world, everybody would be equal. We'd say loss of life in Philadelphia matters just as much as loss of life in Bucks County, but unfortunately, that's not how it works a lot of times. Money matters, and in this case, that's what happens. Like you said, I'm just as split as you, man. Loss of life is loss of life, but you see the inequalities, and even as a body in the media, I see it too. But like what we're taught is, if it bleeds, it leads, and where to go find the stories that stay on people's minds, that keeps their attention on the screen, because as you all know, even in your fields, your different fields in nursing, in accounting, and in sales, if you don't have, you got to get the numbers. And unfortunately, in order to get the numbers, you got to beat a dead horse and keep talking about, these two boys that killed these people and lost and everything. It's the fact that, they were all drug users and everything, and the district attorney even said, they shouldn't be judged. And I heard that from the district attorney. It was all like, but if the roles were reversed, we'd be judging them and character assassinating these boys and saying the same thing if the roles were reversed and they were a minority or something else. But that's what it, unfortunately, and we have to change this in our generation. But that's what it is right now. If it bleeds, it leads. And it matters where you're from and where you live, especially when you go missing. That is unfortunate. Got a response?
Negative.
Negative. Yeah, I mean, like I agree with you, Amina. Like I don't want you to think I don't agree with you. I definitely agree. I see the double standard, and I'm just as split as you. I'm probably just as split as, I know Trey and Matt haven't talked yet, but I'm just as split as the rest of y'all. Like, loss of life is loss of life. It's unfortunate that, these boys were, you know, uh, can't really say what they were doing, but they were four boys, 19 to 22, in our age group that just, made a mistake and got shot and got burned. They got buried in a ditch because of their
Yes.
mistake. So, it's just
Yeah.
what, it's just very unfortunate that, that they lost their life. But, the other side of it is, if they were something else, would it be covered as like that? And the answer most likely is probably no, but you never know. So
I feel everything you said.
yeah. So
I'm out in the suburbs 5 days a week, Bryn Mawr, PA, and that's all they talk about.
because unfortunately, it's true what we say about the suburbs. And I don't live in the suburbs, but I've gone to school with them. We've all gone to college with them, or we're still in the process of going to college with them. Like they a lot of the suburban people will tell you nothing happens out there, and when something
All
does,
things happen out there.
I know a lot of things happen out there, but to them it's boring, right? As compared to city and everything else. And we have, and I'm not trying to make a big cultural thing about it, but to them, if something happens to one of their neighbors' kids down the street, and from their experience, he was the sweetest boy ever, and they found out, as they did with these two, that they are serial killers. It's a shock. So, enough of that. We're gonna move right along. So, guys, to the question that I know we've all been waiting to answer, well, at least myself, Matt, and Trey. Are the 76ers cursed? Thank you. Shouts out to Kenneth Wilson for this one. Go ahead, Matt.
Are the Philadelphia 76ers cursed? I want to say yes, but I want to say no. Because here you go. Honestly, it's just a case of the injury bug. It's a bad injury bug. It's like it's getting on everybody's nerves. I mean, if you were talking about curse, I mean, '08 shouldn't have never happened. If we were cursed, but the curse is technically broken, and you want to know the curse of Billy Penn. It's just the fact of a string of bad luck, so to speak. I mean, New Orleans, Noel, he was hurt. Yeah, no, what's his freaking name? God, what is his name? Embiid got hurt. Simmons get hurt. Foster's hurt. The only one that ain't get hurt was Okafor. So, with that being said, but that's another story. No, this team's not cursed. It is the fact that these, coincidentally, these ran through a lot of injuries, and it does stunt the process just a little bit. But I'm not deterred with my prediction that this team is playoff bound. I'm not deterred. It's just a major setback. So all the Sixers brass, the Sixers training staff know what they're doing to prevent stuff like this from ever happening again, because this is getting a little bit ridiculous and really stupid as far as I'm concerned. We cannot have more of these Sixer rookies getting hurt like this and scaring the crap out of us. And guys drafting guys overseas and taking 2 years to get over here can't stop process like that. It's driving us crazy. It's driving us mad. So we're not cursed. It's a string of this bad crap, bad juju going on. Curses is a bit too far for me. There has to be a reason why one's cursed, like the curse of the goat, like the curse of William Penn. You have to blame something. There's nothing to blame.
Ray, it's all you.
Um, yeah, what Matt said. It's been a pattern of a little bit of a history recently. Rookies getting injured. I mean, I don't think the team in general is cursed. I just think that the rookies, they're not making it far like they should be, like on other teams. I think that they're picking injury prone people to join their team. I think that's what's going on. I don't think the team in general is cursed because I see they're building the team. They're doing better now than they did in other recent years, but I just think that the rookies are cursed. I don't think that the team is cursed. It's a difference. So that's my take on it.
Trey, you got Trey, you there? Trey?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm tired, bro. um, what was the question?
Are the 76ers cursed?
Oh, 76ers.
As far as the
No.
rookies, no.
I mean, it seems like everybody they draft is either injured or is not the player they thought to be. But I mean, it's only a sprained ankle. He should be back. I mean, I don't think it's anything really to worry about. As far as Markel Fultz goes, I mean, like I said, it's a sprained ankle. I mean, sprained ankle. I mean, is not something really serious to worry about. I've had a fairly serious sprained ankle before, and you know, you sit out for 2 weeks or so and you're done. Now, that means he's done for the rest of the summer league, but I mean, we're really looking forward to him playing in the NBA. Now, if this turns out to be something like where he's injury prone, then yeah, maybe we consider the Sixers are cursed because they just can't stay away from injured players. But as of now, sprained ankle, come on, he'll be back. But if we see him like do something major, like tear something or break something, yeah, we can officially say that the Sixers are cursed. Because first of all, they had to deal with, they drafted Joel Embiid knowing that he was injured, knowing that he had, this injury to his foot that a lot of players can't really overcome, especially big men. A lot of big men had that same injury. Then Ben Simmons gets injured. Oh my goodness, Ben Simmons. And now Markel Fultz is hurt, and we can't watch him in the summer league. So it seems as if the Sixers can't get away from injured players, and hopefully Markel Fultz is not injury prone or doesn't turn out to be injury prone. And this sprained ankle is just, this will be something that we just look past.
Yeah, I don't think the Sixers are cursed. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think that it's unfortunate. It's just like Matt, and Trey said, it's just an unfortunate incident of the injury bug biting the Sixers all the time. The good thing for the 76ers is this happened early and it's just an ankle injury. Now, as Matt said, it's up to the training staff to nurse that ankle and make sure that, it's ready come October. and to keep Embiid in the weight room, to bulk up, and to keep him away from Twitter and anything that has to do with LeVar Ball and that beef and that stupid beef, whatever's going on.
No. It's fun to watch. It's fun. Keep tweeting.
It is fun. It is fun. Like, he can tweet. But I just want him to make sure that he's in the weight room more than he's tweeting. I like Joel. I just want him to bulk up. But no, they're not cursed. Like I said, if everybody, if their whole starting five and their best 6 or 7 players get injured like the first day of the new season, and I don't want that, but if it does happen, that's the only circumstance I would say that the 76ers are cursed and everything else. But I think that the 76ers will be fine as long as Markelle Fultz doesn't do anything stupid while he's on the off season to re-injure the ankle. As long as all of our good players stay humble, stay young, don't do anything, we'll be fine. As Amina said, we're building the team, building it around Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and Dario Saric. Hopefully that'll work out for us. And I'm rooting for the 76ers. I'm so sick of watching that bad product that's only dwarfed by the hellfire in New York that keeps the Sixers off the front page. But I am so excited for what's going on. I'm fully invested in the process now, which is now the moment. So I fully hope the moment happens now, especially now that the East is so open. So I am excited. I don't think the Sixers are cursed. We'll see what happens. I think I'm going to move a question back for next week. But I want to thank you guys. So we're going to move the last question to next week. That'll be on our hot takes about the esports. I want to thank you guys for coming out with us and being enjoying. It's our 40th episode. We made it to 40 episodes when we started this podcast. And dang it, when did we start this podcast? Trey, you remember when we started this podcast? October, November, somewhere in there.
I want to say, I don't know, man. I can't remember. I guess we gotta go look back at the date of the first podcast.
Yeah, I think it was. I want to say it was in November though. I think it was in November. Like, it had to be late October, early November, or mid-November.
Either way, you got your 12 away from 52. So.
It's been great. As I've said, I've gotten to come closer to these guys. Even though we were church members, now we're even better friends. And Ron and Amina from high school. It's brought a lot of people together. 40 episodes. Thank God for that. Thank God for the fun that we have on Fridays and Thursdays. These guys are always flexible. Thank you for listening whenever you listen. It's been a while. We're close to 3 hours. I try to keep this as equal a podcast as I can. Keep it at 2.5 hours, and we're at that mark again. So you all enjoy your weekend. Stay cool. I know on the East Coast it was sweltering, but now it's a little bit cooler because a thunderstorm rolled through. But it is July, so it's going to be hot again. Guys, stay cool. Enjoy your weekend. For my Game of Thrones fans, yes, that will infiltrate this podcast because I am a big Game of Thrones fan. Enjoy premiere weekend come this Sunday. Yes, there's nothing else to talk about because other than baseball, we're in this. I didn't forget about you, Matt. We're in this dry period of sports. Like I said, we will institute some things, but thankfully, NBA free agency, the WNBA All-Star Game, and the MLB All-Star Game, and Wimbledon keeps us going. So, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Enjoy your vacations. Whatever you do, have a good one and be safe.